So everyone, just so disclaimer, this is being recorded and posted online by RISD, so please turn on or off your video according to if you want to have your image shown. Welcome everyone. My name is Olivia Roselle and I lead the RISD Alumni Club of Chicago along with Mark Choi, who was just on, Gabrielle Anya, and Laura Noble. Because this is open to all alumni, we'd love to hear where everyone is from. So if you want to chat in the window box, which is in your upper left-hand corner where you're from, we'd love to see where everyone's dialing in from.
Okay.
Hi, Anna.
Sugar Land, Texas.
Where's the chat? Let's see.
It's in the upper
Got it.
right corner and the 3 dots.
Got it.
Hi, Mindy from Boston. No worries, we all are. Hi, Jason, Grand Rapids. Wow, we've got people from everyone. This is fantastic. Mary from California, Anna from Delaware. Thanks for joining. All right. All right, cool. Well, I'd like to introduce Elaine Frey, owner of Luft Balloons in Chicago. She graduated in 2006 in landscape architecture, and you can check out her recent work on Instagram and through her website. She'll be giving us a tour of her new studio in Old Town. She'll be showing us a few of her really cool installations, and she has created some incredible work. So with that, I'll go ahead and pass the mic over to you.
Sure. So balloons are not usually part of landscape architecture. So I have pivoted but it's not a far cry from landscape, because landscape was building with 3-dimensional space and altering the way that you experience space. And that's exactly what we do with balloons here. I think if you could let me share my screen, I can just kind of go through a couple images and talk about like what like our aesthetic and work. Is that okay? Do I have that ability to?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Here we go. Okay. So, let's see. What I'm trying to do here at Luft Balloons is to bring the joy through the art of the balloon. And that's the basic tagline that we give to everything, and to like reinvent how we see balloons. It's a nostalgic material or nostalgic item from our childhood that really like pulls at our heartstrings and it just makes everyone joyful. And it's something that people just smile. And so and with color, it is further just a very fun medium to explore and to create with, and it's big. So what's great about creating the art that we do is that we can make pretty massive things pretty quickly. The other thing that's like landscape is that it's temporal. So all of these installs, I should probably be showing you this instead of looking at my screen. My apologies. I'm never on Zoom. So unlike the rest of the world, I have no experience on any of this stuff. So balloons are temporal in the sense that a lot of people are celebrating moments in time. It's an event, it's a celebration. It's not meant to last, which is, landscape is about the evolution of the horticulture, the hardscape, the way that things grow, and it's altering over time. This is a sped up version of that, but I see the parallels between the two. And so a lot of our work is about, how do we alter experience, and how do we wow somebody and really elevate an event? And we like to do that. This one is for a school, for my children's school, for their fundraiser. And this is where our principal was coming down to talk. And I wanted to explore playing with an ombre. I wanted to explore playing with different colors, custom colors. So we make all of our custom colors of balloons, which is we stuff one balloon inside of another. And that's how, when you blow up the balloon, they they mix together. And so it's opened up this world of just not that juvenile red balloon. We can all of a sudden make a cherry red and a dark red and a purpley red. And so within this ombre, there are 7 colors that are kind of leading from this white to this pearl white all the way down. And we're really like, this is at Italy, and they wanted to make it feel like it was summer and winter there. And so how could you make this rotunda feel like you were in a balloon version of Italy, and bringing in color through the garlands and the paperwork. Installations at the St. Jane, I like to play with this idea of like, where is the structure going and what is it doing? And so like, this is like this idea of it's coming from outside to inside, and then around that corner it actually went back into the building. So altering, what are you looking at, what's going on? This was for an art fair. That big red balloon is an 8-foot balloon. And just as you come around the corner, this is where you get all your information for the art fair, and like to just see this wow as you're walking around. And the color scheme for everything is always intentional. So this was derived from the artist who was featured on the front, which she had painted a giraffe. And so we just pulled out these beautiful colors that created something that, who would have put mocha with all of these colors? This oh, not that one. This was at the MCA, where they had a dinner that was a rainbow dinner in the clouds. Everything was white except the food was color. And so it's hard to see the scale here, but this was, these were like 10-foot to 15-foot clouds that were suspended at an angle as you came down. And then, this is a private party, but this idea of a threshold, and this thing went all the way through from one side to the other, and the guests had to walk through it. And so really merging this experience of outside and party and celebration, and weaving the balloons weaved all in and out of the trees. And how can you kind of not make it decor, but make it more art and landscape. And then here was playing with color and party, and you would weave through all these different items, structures. And then, so 85% of our business was events before the pandemic. And as we know, overnight, we lost all of our events. And in that time, I put, let's see, I should have put it somewhere. Oh, wait, you know what, no, I don't have it on there. I put a smiling rainbow, I called it, on my fence. This is not my house, but I put it on my fence and just like put it on for neighbors, and then threw it on my website. And it just started selling like crazy. During March and April, Chicago just needed, it's a dreary city to begin with weather, and they just needed this. We needed this way to connect. And all of a sudden, I started to realize that balloons could become a visual connector without being able to see each other. And it became a marker of how we can celebrate from afar, and know that that person just had a baby, or that person just had a birthday, or just a simple thing of like, I want to bring joy to you. And so we did over, like 500 or 600 or 700 of these, and we started to map them around the city of Chicago, so that you could go out and take your dog for a walk or your kid for a walk, and say and we map them by date. So I definitely thank RISD for all my mapping classes. But so we mapped them so that you could really just see this joy and this connector of like, we were all in it together. Well, that then led to the anything burst, because people would say, well, I want it for a birthday and I need it for graduation. And so now we've dubbed it the anything burst, and we have put thousands of these all over the city. And, we've transformed them into holiday palettes, and you can do a bunch of numbers and letters. I forgot to include some of those, so I apologize. And then we've also made them into a smaller version, which we called our Zoom balloon in the beginning, because people needed something for behind their Zoom. And then now people are using these in a smaller scale to be outside. And so that's kind of how we pivoted through all of this. And through that, through the learning of the smiling rainbow what I call it, the OG Smiling Rainbow exercise. I realized that when George Floyd's death happened, I was watching social media and watching the black muting where everyone had a black square, and something wasn't sitting right with me, and I just felt this need to do something. And so I called my printer and said, I need you to print Black Lives Matter balloons. And he overnighted them. And then I put them up and I put it up with like, here's our position. And I want to use my platform as a social activism platform, to use the medium of balloons to speak to each other, to use that as a way to start to break down barriers of saying, it's like a nicer yard sign, but a way that people can connect over some of these social issues. And we gave away over 3,000. They were for free. It's been a very long pandemic on my end. I have not learned how to make sourdough bread, but you know, this was you could feel the energy, at least here in Chicago, of this need to say something and do something. And a lot of people did this with balloons. And so we had people all over, like this guy, he came in from Milwaukee and he was coming to a protest and he said, I heard about this and I wanted to get a burst to march. And so, you know, I realized that then we can use these balloons to message. And so then we messaged with voting. That became obviously a very important cause for us to vote and to change the past president. And so we did a lot of installs. People just felt very compassionate again about wanting to vote, and held photo shoots around the city where people wanted to say their opinion and mark it with a photo of saying, like, this is what I stand for. And then additionally, the last one that we connected with was NAMI, which is for mental health for all, because this pandemic has been very eye-opening, I think, to the discourse that's happening about mental health illness, and to say, we can talk about, you know, not feeling okay. And so those three things were part of our social activism. And then before Black Lives Matter, you know, we were doing relatively well from a standpoint that we were still in business and we're able to pay our bills, and other companies weren't. And the world around, while we were going up, I was watching everything else with COVID and everything going down. And so it felt I had to figure out how to connect and give back. And it took a while, but if all of a sudden I was like, duh, we just do our original work, but for hospitals. And so we raised money to just cover the funds of the balloons, and we donated everything else. But we did 2,500 balloons per hospital installs for the frontline workers. And we hand calligraphied messages on the balloons, like "True heroes, we appreciate you," just to, you know, give them some joy, some momentary, you know, like, hey, we appreciate what you're doing, and smile, because in the midst of all this chaos, that there is love for what you are doing. And so, you know, these were not, some of them were not the fanciest of locations, because it was very specific that it had to be at where the employees entered, not where patients entered. And as we know, sometimes it's always on the back end. So we ballooned about 5 or 6 healthcare facilities. And we were able to partner with a really incredible, let's see if I can get this to go on. How do I get this to go on? This is on my website. Shoot. Sorry. Maybe I can come back to that later. It's just a really great video that merges what the work that we're trying to do. Maybe I can send it to you guys in a link, because the music's great too, but it showing, you know, the frontline workers and the balloons, and kind of that effort of March, April, May, was the energy was just a really neat experience. So in a nutshell, that's Luft Balloons. Would you like me to segue into a tour, or do you want to ask a couple questions about some of those things?
Question from Mindy. What do you use as a structure underneath?
The structure underneath, so there is no structure, we build it. So we use fishing line, and then the rest of it's just building. And it's like any medium, you're figuring out its pushes and pulls, what it can do, what it can withstand, how much do you need to hang something versus not hang something, can you build it freestanding. And then I see, how long do installs take? Well, that's the magic of our stuff. We're really fast. And so this thing only took a couple hours maybe, and this isn't that, not an hour maybe. But like our hospital installs, we did those in an hour or two. I mean, it didn't include the blowing up part, but I would say like a big install is 2 to 3 hours. That's a big one, but typically 1 to 2 hours.
What about wind?
Wind, yes, we are in the Windy City. So we originally did, let's see, I will get you a photo of one if I can find it. Let's see. I should have had these a little more accessible. My apologies. I can't find it. But we did Beholden, which is down in the windiest part of Chicago, and you just tie the heck out of it. You just have to tie multiple points, and I just watch where the wind catches it, and then you reinforce, and it doesn't go away. We installed that in January, and it was up for 2.5 weeks. And the balloons prefer cold over hot. They also prefer quarantine over outside. So they're the only thing that like the pandemic or being inside. They'll last up to a month or more inside. Outside, it depends on the weather conditions. So cold is their friend. In summer, the heat will make them expand. So the hotter it is, the lower the life, or the shorter the lifespan.
Anna has asked, are your installation balloons filled with air, helium, or something else?
So Luft is actually means air in German. And when I started Luft, I wanted to push people to use balloons with air because helium is a non-renewable resource. And 5 years ago, when I started, very small, trying to get this idea across in a product form before an event form, at Renegade Art Fair, no one got it. I was like, why don't they float? And so it took a lot of education and also me following people of understanding, okay, well, they don't understand what I'm doing here. Maybe I just built, because it was a kit, it was DIY, it was trying to follow that Renegade crew. And I realized people didn't want to do that. And so yeah, all of our structures are filled with air. We do have the Helium Shop and that component, and those are filled with helium, obviously.
I'm curious, could you share a little bit about why you chose balloons as your medium?
I did not intentionally set out to be a balloon artist. That's what I find so fascinating about life and your journey of trying to figure out what you're going to do. I knew I always wanted my own business and something creative. Those are the two requirements. And in that pursuit, I had a couple other failed businesses. And the one before this was, right before it was the Sass and Science for hosting dinner parties. I love to entertain, and I felt that people weren't coming around the table enough to talk, to connect, and that particularly people weren't knowing how to do it and that they were afraid. And so we wanted to create a modern day Martha Stewart that really set a science to it so that it could be very easy. And in the process of designing a circular, we got a ton of people saying, no one's going to buy a magazine, well, what about a circular? Would they buy that? So we designed the circular, and they all had themes, and the theme, this one was a birthday. And for the decor of each event or whatever party that we were kind of theming, our rule One of the things of obviously of love of RISD is logic, design logic, rules, the way that you look at things, it has to have intention and you set up that logic. So one of our logic or guiding rules was that you could only buy things at the store for decor and reuse them. It could not be something you had to get on Etsy. You could not go to Joann Fabrics. Like it had to be something you could pick up at Walgreens. So for the birthday circular, we designed everything out of birthday hats, the little blowers, and then balloons. And I don't get credit for this, which is totally fine, but we were the first ones to do the runner of balloons as floral, because we were rethinking like, why spend all this money on flowers? Why not do a cool balloon centerpiece? And so in the process of designing that, I bought over $400 worth of balloons, and they were all different colors. They were all different mediums, or sorry, lines. Some were shiny, some were jeweled. The tones were off. The price point was insane because you had to buy so many. And I was like, there's something here. Like if I want a specific color of a balloon, somebody else does. And so I back pocketed that. And that after I had my first kid, my friend who we were trying to build this circular with, she said, we can't get this off the ground. We don't have any funding. This isn't working. I want to go. She's like, I want to go write my play. She's like, I was like, you don't want to do the balloon thing with me? And she's like, no, that's you. And just go try it. Go figure it out. And so that's how I started. I started to figure out like, how can I create custom colors with balloons? And so I'll show you a little example, because that's the most exciting thing. Because I know all you RISD people are probably the only ones who love color as much as I do. So if you can see here, all right. Okay, so do you see, this is two regular balloons. You've got a wintergreen and a sapphire blue. I designed a tool that we patented, well, patent pending, but that allows us to double stuff them. So putting one inside the other. So off the shelf colors look like this. Okay. See how boring those are? See how they're just flat. That's just a balloon, right? Okay. Okay, so now this is the magical part. Okay, ready? So hard to see on the camera, but if you go into my website, we have all the colors on our website, and I was so color careful in how we presented them on the website. But if you were to able to see in this light, there's like you can't really get the true nature of it, but it's a peacock blue, and it's just you can see the green popping through, and so that's where I originally started, and then no one wanted to buy these balloons initially. So then I went to events, and so I just followed what people wanted. So we went to events, and then back to the custom colors to make the installs. Should we do a tour? What do you think?
I was talking on mute. We would love a tour of the back room. I think that'd be really cool.
Okay. Okay. So we did a Santa Wonderland for Christmas, or for the holidays, because no one could go see Santa. And so we did like over 3,000 balloons, where you come into a cave of balloons, and it was all filled with lights, and there were hidden foils so that the kids could look for them. And then there was a balloon Santa where you could take your picture. And it was just so wonderful for people to get out of their house and see that, and just connect in their own little group. So we decided to do it for Valentine's Day. And I wanted to create something that felt like a hug, and that really made people feel like we love you. And so this is our hug. I've been sitting in it. So you can kind of see that chair for reference, but it's this idea that you're in this hug. And then we just created this ceiling of, heart balloons and what have you. So, so this part is our entrance where you come in, and then I'm sorry, this is really awkward, but okay. So this is our cash wrap and, you know, where you can order your balloons and all the foils. And then the magic, if anyone has kids, I had to build a school because our kids are in CPS. So they are now my inventory room, which is right here. So you have to get very creative. My inventory room is now in our shop. So this is our studio. It was an old bar. For 42 years, it was Gamekeepers, which is, I actually came here in my 20s. So I love that there's that history of it becoming a balloon bar now. But so the way that we've got it organized is that you can see that there's colors. These are 60 plus colors. And what I do when I look for a color to add in, I work with all of them. So I'm trying to see, like, this is a brand new one that came out and it's got like a soft, this lighting's not doing this stuff justice, but it's got a soft matte to it. And we have to usually create our matte colors with the double stuff. So, you know, we've just added this in. There's this beautiful eucalyptus. I mean, the amount of like natural installs now that we can do with this without having to make our own is great. So this is all the colors here of just 11-inch. So the trick of our work is that it's really important to do multiple sizes of balloons because that gives you that texture and that layer because you don't want it to feel one note. So most of the work out there are competitors, you know, you can just, people can actually tell the difference. They're like, oh, that's not a Luft piece. And because I've tried to, you know how everyone says like, you don't know why it's good, but you just like it. To me, that's true art. And that's when somebody just gravitates towards it. That is when you are succeeding in your design. And so the way we achieve that is with multiple sizes of balloons. So over here are all our 3-foot balloons. And so these are this size, they're huge. And then over here are all our 5-inch balloons. And so they're little.
There's a question about how do you transport these?
Sure. So the events, we would always build on site. That was the beauty of our work, is that we could, you just bring your crew and we build everything on site. With the pandemic, now we build everything here and bring it. But as you can see, like this is an install for tomorrow right here. Like this is what it looks like initially. It's just like a line of balloons. And then the construction of it looks like this. So it's already constructed. Sorry for the graininess, the darkness. And so that goes directly onto the fence or in the house as is. Now, if it's an event, I'm meeting with the client beforehand. Well, back in the day, we would meet with the client beforehand and talk about what is it that you're trying to highlight? What are you trying to get people to experience? And then I kind of navigate with them based off of tie points and how you're moving through the space and how we can structure it. This is what we can do. So all of our work, not real work, because we still consider that art, but all of our custom art is site specific. So it's very important that it's responding to architecture. It's responding to the way that you flow. Is it a threshold piece? Is it a wow moment? You know, all of these, you can only know when you see a space. It's not like I design it here in the shop and then figure it out there. So let's see. So as far as, it looks like a typical studio. Like there's mess everywhere. My kids have written up there. You've got your coffee machine and I don't know. What else can I answer for you guys?
You pivoted several times in your career, and I'm just curious, to a fellow RISD alumni who might be struggling right now because of the market, because of the pandemic, or maybe a loss of job or a career change. What do you recommend for marketing themselves in this kind of environment?
Well, I feel like there's a couple questions in there. Do you like, for somebody looking for a new job, or
somebody that's trying to market themselves or market their brand? You've done such an incredible job with marketing your brand. I like you said, I can drive down the street and I know exactly when it's a Luft Balloons and when it's another replica. How do you market yourself?
yeah, so I think the main thing is having your vision of what you want your voice to be, and then sticking with that, and like keeping on somewhat blinders and not looking at people who are ahead of you or around you or copying you. We've had our share of people who have taken our ideas immediately, and we see it next to the one that we're installing, and you kind of have to just know your truth. And like, I know what our message is, and I know what I'm trying to achieve, and I know where we're going. And you know, it doesn't hurt that balloons are just an easy medium to look at. You know, they're just so happy and cheerful. It's like seeing a cake artist online. You know, they post a picture of cake and it's this beautiful art, and of course you like it. Now, if you're trying to sell, I don't know, you know, all of you are artists, so just find the beauty in how you work and how you can take pictures. You know, a lot of people want to see how this back end. A lot of people want to see story. They also want connection to personality. I found that our brand is also me, of saying like, this is my journey. I am older, I have 3 kids, and I still deserve a chance to be doing art, you know, just like everyone else. Like that, there is no age cap of success. And that's what my story is. And if somebody's not going to buy my products because I'm very vocal about the LGBTQ community and Black Lives Matter community and all that stuff, that's fine, because I don't go to Chick-fil-A for that exact reason. You know, that we are in a period where we can align with supporting artists that we appreciate as well. And so I think just staying really truthful in your voice, and then just get into the pictures. Like, follow some accounts. Like there's this account called Antique Taco, and how she looks at just a taco, you know, place, the way that she keeps her profile so beautiful and so on point, and reimagines the materials that she uses to make things. You know, you can tell the story of your art in multiple ways. It doesn't have to just be a picture of the final product.
So great. A few more questions have come in. Jay asked, are your balloons biodegradable?
Yes. So our latex is a premium latex. It's not what you get at Party City or at Target. They are made here in the US. They're 100% organic and 100% biodegradable. The only and all of our balloons, our structures are tied together. So when they degrade, you just kind of pop them and then they stay on the line. They can't flow away. And those big installs, that will fit into the size of a garbage bag. Unfortunately, foils are not the best thing for the environment. And so our goal as we move forward to becoming B certified, I personally don't think helium is going to be around for that long. I do think it's just going to be gone at some point. So I am trying to figure out how to make a new product or something, you know, that responds to that. And maybe get rid of the foil industry, because that's like styrofoam. Let's see.
That's awesome.
Do you see? Yes, a lot of people see our work in person. You know, a lot of people say, oh, why don't you put a sign out and stuff like that? And I'm not that kind of promoter. I think it promotes when it's needed. So yes, it is, like you said, self-promotional, but it's the way that we construct. Like, I could give you 5 companies that are within like our same aesthetic, and you'll see a different aesthetic. And that's what I think's neat. Everyone has their own kind of structure or way that they're creating. And yes, we have a huge truck. That was my first big purchase as a business owner, once we moved into the space in June. And so that's been extremely helpful, because we can prep ahead of time instead of being on site because of COVID restrictions.
That's awesome. Opening it up to other questions. What's your least favorite part about your career and your favorite part of your career?
Ooh, I don't have a least favorite. I love, or well, career. That path has been interesting, let me say. But where we are right now, I am very thankful that I was able to pursue art and make money. I think I was a very broke artist post grad school from RISD, and it just took a lot to get out of that hole. So I thank my lucky stars. My most favorite thing, I guess, I think it's just seeing that the way that the world pushes you, or your community pushes you to keep developing and coming up with new ideas. You know, that like I have no idea where this company is going to be in a year. I had no idea that we would be at this spot right now. All of a sudden, like taking our art from like a very, you know, not elitist, but like a level that people couldn't get, to all of a sudden figuring out how to make it the most economical, the cheapest thing on the market. And but having that piece of art that you could put in your home. You know, our installs, if you put this in your home, like I said, it'll last a couple months.
This is fantastic. Mark has another question. What inspires your work?
So I learned a lot of my kind of inspiration digging from Mick Young Kim. She was at RISD. She was a landscape architecture head, and she was my thesis advisor. And I worked for her post grad school, and I would watch how she absorbed her inspiration, and she took it from everywhere. And so I started to do the same thing. I would look at things and I'd say, oh, that's a great palette, you know, whatever grabbed my eye, and I would save it and filter it. You know, the sky the other day, I was taking my kids, and because of the cold in Illinois, when you have clouds in the sky, it's very weird to see the blue. It's usually always gray. And so it was just the patterning, you know, and then, you know, you just kind of take it, you absorb it from all around you, which I think a lot of artists do.
Oh, I love Mindy's question. What would be your dream installation spot anywhere in the world?
You know, I have had these before. I like wanted to, I don't, I'll tell you the one I had like a couple years ago. I was on the Chicago architectural boat tour. I take it every year because it changes, and it's such a neat vantage point of the city. And I'd always wanted to do like Michigan Avenue, where you're on the bridge and it's coming down so that you could see it from the buildings. You could experience going underneath this bridge, you know, like where it'd be underneath. And then like, how neat would it be if you could figure out how, if the balloons were like floating in the water and stationary, you know, not flying all over. So that's one from a couple of years ago, but I'll have to think about a new one.
Mindy agrees that tour is the best. Do it.
Good one for inspiration, that's for sure. Yeah.
Any other questions? If any other questions do pop up, I will certainly open them up. Have you built structures? Have you built structures with your balloons?
Like buildings. Well, the balloon room was the one that we did for Santa. And I'd always wanted to create a structure where everything felt like balloons. But I haven't been able to figure out how to do it on the ground. So I need like, I need a set builder, because I need like a plexi ground so that you can put the balloons under it. But from a building perspective, or people, no, I'm not trained actually as a traditional balloon artist. There is a license that you can get, and I'm not part of that group. And so because I do more, the term is organic work, and a lot of balloon artists by trade, the ones that do the twisting and the ones that do the arches, don't like me, because I don't subscribe to the rules of quads and making them perfectly sized, and following a set rule book, which is fun.
Okay, this has been fantastic. If there are any other questions that we haven't addressed, definitely feel free to reach out directly to Elaine. And of course, it's Luft Balloons. She has a website and an Instagram account that she is constantly updating. Thank you to Katrina and the support from the entire RISD Alumni Association. We're really grateful to Elaine for opening up your studio to us and sharing your time. This has been fantastic. You rocked it. And then lastly, I don't even know if there's anybody on here from Chicago, but we're always open to hearing if you have any ideas about programming for future RISD alumni events. So please reach out to myself or to Mark. We have a great group of volunteers and we would love to hear from you guys. So thank you, be safe. Elaine, thank you again. And thank you for spending the evening with us, everyone. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate you taking your time to see our little spot.
Take care, everyone. Thank you.